Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Tesla and Figaro, good morning.
Good morning, Guzbins. Charlamagne and Envy.
That's right. The Hood Whisperer, Tesla and Figaro.
All right, well, let's start off with some sports right away. Game one of the NBA Finals is tonight. Miami Heat versus Denver Nuggets, 8:30 p.m. And they're saying Tyler Hero will be returning for Game 3 of this final. So,
it's interesting, right? Because in my mind and on paper, I say the Denver Nuggets should sweep the Miami Heat, but the Miami Heat seem like they're playing like a team of destiny.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And they have a will to win.
That is true.
That you know is very, very unique. And when you have that will to win, you can surprise some people.
Nothing can stop you.
So I'm saying all that to say I have no idea who's gonna win this series. My mind and logic says the Nuggets should sweep the Heat.
Correct.
But we'll see.
All right. Well, let's start with some the House passing a bill to raise the debt ceiling. What does that mean, Tez?
Yes, last night the House of Representatives passed a bipartisan bill to suspend the debt ceiling, overcoming vocal opposition from conservative and liberal lawmakers and bringing the country one step closer to avoiding an economic default ahead of last week's deadline. Now, the legislation, which was crafted through negotiations between President Biden and Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy, cleared the chamber in a bipartisan 314 to 117 vote and now heads to the Senate. Now, to be clear, just so everyone understands, if the debt ceiling did not pass, it would have slashed government services. Payments to 67 million Social Security beneficiaries could have been halted. 1 week of default alone could have caused 1 million jobs to be lost. The employment rate would have jumped to about 5%. Higher interest rates, market panic, political instability, even though we have more than enough of that, and other long-term effects. So this was a pretty big deal.
So what did they decide to do about them food stamp benefits, Ted? Everybody's still getting their food stamps, right?
Yes, that was one of the big things that was on the table that they went back and forth about. And just to make it really simple and short, before, the current law requires able-bodied adults. This is really important. Able-bodied adults between the age of 18 and 49 without dependents, just to be clear, without dependents, to work or attend training for at least 80 hours a month if they want to receive their food stamps more than 3 months. So that has now changed to age 54. So the only change has been from going from 49 to 54 for able-bodied adults that do not have dependents. Now, Democrats compromised in order to raise that age up. They said, well, we want to make sure that veterans, homeless people, and young people aging out of foster care would be excluded from work requirements. Now, that negotiation actually cost more over time. So Republicans are upset about that because they said, you did all of that and it kind of backfired. But Speaker McCarthy said come holler at me in 1 year and you'll see that we will save more money over time because people will be working. And of course, Democrats disagree with that and say that work requirements doesn't really make a difference. But that was what was really holding this bill up.
At this point, we all need food stamps. Remember when they used to say cooking at home saves you money?
Yeah.
That means nothing now.
No,
that's a damn lie now.
Nothing at all. And in certain cases, if you order Uber Eats, it's a lot cheaper because Uber Eats now has those deals where it's 2 for 1.
Yeah.
So you can order a platter of like we always order from this Caribbean spot, this Jamaican food spot where, you can get a jerk chicken, an oxtail, and they give you another one for free.
Oxtail, $70 a pound.
So, man.
Easily, oxtail, $70 a pound.
But it's very expensive out there. And like you said, even like, my daughter who goes to college, she was like, yo, food is so expensive. She was like, it's easy to just go get a slice of pizza.
So it's good that that ceiling got raised. Also, Tez, I remember progressives were acting like they were not sure if they would vote for the bill. So did they?
Right. Remember, we talked about that, and they did put on the record that this is a nightmare for progressives because it restricts non-defense spending, it green lights a fossil fuel project, it ends the pause on student loan payments, and again, the work requirements that they do not disagree with. But they did have enough votes for it to pass with Democrats and Republicans. But a few progressives did go on the record to vote no. I'll just name a few. Representative Jamal Bowen, who we obviously interviewed here on the Breakfast Club. Representative Cori Bush, Representative Barbara Lee, Representative Jayapal, they all, and AOC, all voted no. It's a list that voted no, but I just, those are a few that most of our listeners recognize.
Hey, I respect it because, they held the line.
They held the line.
I thought they was gonna fall in line. They proved me different. They proved otherwise. Yeah, respect to them.
All right.
So we'll see what it looks like when it goes to the Senate.
And that is front page news. Now, Tez, we'll see you in a couple of minutes. Everybody else, get it off your chest. 800-585-1051. If you need to vent, phone lines are wide open. Again, 800-585-1051. Get it off your chest. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning. Morning, everybody. It's DJ Envy, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. Let's get in some front page news. Good morning, Tez.
Good morning, Envy and Charlamagne.
Tesla Figaro is here. You know, she helps us out with front page news.
This is the Breakfast Club's resident political correspondent. I saw Mediaite, salute to Mediaite too. Mediaite said the other day they referred to Tez as the Breakfast Club political correspondent. I like that.
Okay.
Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah, I like that.
Well, let's start off with some quick sports tonight. All right, game 1 in the NBA Finals, Miami versus Denver Nuggets, 8:30. Who you got, Charlamagne?
I have no idea, man. And my mind and my logic says the Denver Nuggets should sweep the Miami Heat, but the Miami Heat, they play like a team of destiny. Like Jimmy Butler has a will to win that's infectious, and it just goes throughout that whole organization. It's a world-class organization. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
On paper, the Nuggets should win, right?
Yeah.
But the way that Jimmy Butler and the Heat been playing, I mean, you just never know.
I don't know. I really don't. In my mind, I say Nuggets sweep, but I don't know. I really don't.
All right. Well, let's get to the news. Now, let's talk about this councilwoman out in Jersey that was gunned down. They arrested somebody, right?
Yeah, I followed this earlier this year, so I'm glad to see the family has some closure. 28-year-old Rashad Bynum of Portsmouth, Virginia, was arrested Tuesday on murder and gun charges for the death of 30-year-old Ciofalo councilwoman Eunice Dunford. Tuesday's announcements came nearly 4 months after she was found gunned down in her white SUV outside her rented townhome while her 11-year-old daughter heard the shots from inside. Investigators linked Bynum to the incident after they traced his travels from his cell phone and his vehicle location. He was actually a church associate of hers, and she was a pastor. And so now they're trying to figure out, what's going on with that.
Did the police say there was a motive? Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was watching this yesterday on the news, and he was so easy to catch. Because all they did was they seen him running, they found his car on camera, and then they followed his Easy Pass in phone records. So they actually followed him from Portsmouth to New Jersey, and then he did the crime and went right back to Portsmouth, Virginia.
So it sounds like it was just an emotional decision he made in that moment. Why, we don't know. Did the police say there was a motive?
No, and they found a gun. The gun was still in his house in Virginia.
Oh, yeah, he didn't plan this out.
Oh, well, yeah. Obviously, based on his behavior, he did not plan it out. And they said they have not found a motive, but they also said that it did not appear politically motivated. That was one of the things that caught my attention. But they did say there were some court records and tax filings that the church was involved in, some landlord-tenant disputes from 2017 to 2020. Now, again, that's not the motive, but that's all the information, we have right now.
Yeah, it just sounds like it was an emotional decision. Like he just got overwhelmed with some type of emotion. We don't know what that emotion was, and he decided to go project that on this young lady for whatever reason. And it's a very, very sad situation,
very
man.
Sad.
The trauma that her daughter is gonna, have to deal with for the rest of her life, man. Definitely sending her healing energy.
All right, now let's talk about these swan babies in New York.
Swan babies.
Yeah. Now we're gonna be serious with getting through this story, guys.
What the hell is swan babies?
I'm warning you now. The village of Manlius in upstate New York is mourning the loss of Faye. Now, Faye was a swan who was stolen from the town's pond over the weekend, along with her 4 baby swans. So rest in peace to Faye. 3 teenagers were arrested Tuesday on charges including grand larceny and criminal mischief in connection with the swan napping. I don't know if you guys knew that was illegal or not, but the baby swans were recovered. But officials say that the mama swan was taken to the aunt's house and the aunt prepared it.
I blame high food prices. It was Memorial Weekend. You got to put something on the grill. Chicken, beef, it's too damn high. You know what I'm saying? Folks is going to eat what they can.
So they going to eat swan?
A big-ass swan and 4 baby swans might be pretty tasty.
I know you from the country. I know you eat gator. I know you eat deer.
I never ate no swan. Though? I never ate no swan. I'm just telling you that just put 2 and 2 together here. This past weekend was Memorial Weekend. Food prices is high as hell. I can't afford chicken. I can't afford beef, but there's some meat swimming in this little lake over here. Let's see what this swan hitting about. Let's see what this barbecue swan tastes like.
I was trying to be serious, because seriously, rest in peace to Faye. And so mute swans, just so people know, it is illegal to hunt swans in New York. That's why I pulled this story. So, well, it is.
It's illegal to hunt. I'm sure swans are nice little cute creatures.
But it got to be a reason. Why is it illegal to hunt swans?
Well, it's illegal to hunt swans in New York, and not all states, but they do have legal protection in New York since 1946, and they're listed as protected birds in the environmental conservation law. And yes, Envy, you're right, because I guess they're pretty. So anything that has to do with a swan on their nests, eggs, if they're handled or harmed without authorization from the DEC, that is when you basically can go to jail. And speaking of the taste, I went on a rabbit hole with this. I spent way too much time on this story because I was curious, like, what does swan taste like? And so a couple of people said it, a couple of stories or research said that it tastes like duck and goose. Some people said it was a little fishy. It had a sour taste. And so interesting I've never had swan.
If they made it illegal to hunt swans back in the day, that means people was eating the hell out some swan. You hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Somebody this weekend decided I cannot afford chicken and beef and duck and goose. So guess what, Swan? You on the menu. That's what I get from this story.
Poor Swanee Pooh.
Poor Swan. Rest in peace to Faye.
You say that until you taste Faye. You're like, damn, okay, I see what's going on here.
All right. Well, that is Front Page News. Thank you, Tez.
That's right.
Thank you.
And make sure you subscribe to the Straight Shot No Chaser podcast from Tesla and Figaro on the Black Effect iHeartRadio Podcast Network, available everywhere you listen to podcasts. And you know what, real quick, I do want to salute Candace Ortiz. Candace, I don't know you, but Candace works at Mediaite, and she covers a lot of the things that we talk about in Front Page News. So thank you, Candace Ortiz at Mediaite.
I bet you she won't cover the swan story.
I don't see a reason for her to, unless she is a fan of swans.
All right.
And can I say this? Ask people to follow me on Instagram. You know, a lot of people want to exchange and have conversations about the news, which, of course, you know, I do that on my podcast as well. But follow me at Tesla and Figaro on Instagram, and we get it in a lot in the comments on these stories.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, keep it locked. When we come back, we got more. It's The Breakfast Club on BET.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.